Well, hey there, Mama, and welcome back to the Mom's Overcoming Overwhelm podcast, episode number 206. I'm Emily McDermott, and I'm here beside you on this journey as we work together to declutter your home, head, and heart. I have been on this minimalism and decluttering journey for over a decade now, and I have learned that sometimes the truth hurts. So today I am sharing the truth in love. 5 uncomfortable truths about clutter that you need to hear in order to really get unstuck and start or restart your decluttering journey. So, what do you say? Grab the notebook and pen and let's dive into today's episode. We are coming up on 3 years of the podcast. I can hardly believe it. And next week, I'm going to be sharing information about a giveaway where you can be in the running to win some Amazon gift cards. So just wanted to give you a heads up. We are going to be celebrating 3 years. It'll be 207 episodes, almost 300,000 downloads. And I am just so honored and thrilled to be on this journey with you. And with that in mind, we're going to dive into these 5 uncomfortable truths because they are pretty juicy. So I hope you have that notebook and pen ready. Let's go ahead and start with number 1. Shopping is fun. Decluttering is not fun. Now, it might seem a little strange that as a decluttering expert, I am telling you that decluttering is not fun. Aren't I supposed to make it fun? I try, but the point is that shopping, that has been equated with self-care. So we talk about retail therapy, right? Something that's making us feel good. And for some people, it's really the hunt of the deal. That's actually proven that just the anticipation of being able to get a good deal or being able to know, okay, I'm going to be going shopping and finding something, it really triggers those feel good hormones. We have our dopamine, right? We have our serotonin, our brain's reward system kicks in. And then if you actually find the bargain, then that's a whole other reward system happening. So it's similar to if you anticipate that you're going to win a game or win something and then you actually do. And of course, this feels great until we come home and we realize we don't have anywhere to put this particular thing. And so that's what causes the problem. Sometimes we might feel buyer's remorse, or we're not understanding the true cost of the item, having to find it and maintain it and clean around it and all of those things. So shopping is fun. Coming home and realizing you have nowhere to put it, not so fun. Also decluttering, also not fun. Well, why is that? Well, decluttering is at its core decision making. And we've talked about decision fatigue on the podcast before. Decision making takes time, it takes energy, and it's physical energy, also mental and emotional energy. That's why when I'm working with clients in person, I never do more than about 4 hours because everyone is just exhausted afterwards because it is constant decision making. So if I were to use like a weight loss analogy, and I am a huge chocoholic, so this would hopefully resonate with some of you. Eating a piece of chocolate cake is really easy, right? It's really fun. And in fact, when we eat things like chocolate, we have some of those same feel-good chemicals being released, like our serotonin and our dopamine. But exercising, to remove the piece of cake that has found its permanent home on my hips is not so fun. It requires time and energy and sweat. So we know that consuming and shopping and eating a lot of times is fun. Having to declutter and get rid of that excess, not so fun. But how do we kind of shift our minds about this? Understanding short-term versus long-term rewards and benefits. So I know that if I'm going for a walk or I'm weight training, it might be hard in the moment, but the long-term benefits to my mental health and my physical health and my strength outweigh those. So likewise, we know the benefits of a clutter-free home. And so we want to know, okay, yes, it is fun to go shopping, but I really have to rein that in because I want to think about the long-term effects on my environment and our health. Okay, so that is uncomfortable truth number 1. Moving on to number 2, similar. Bringing stuff into our homes is easier than ever, and getting it out is hard. So my parents and my in-laws, they have both downsized, but the homes that they were living in, those are the homes that I grew up in and my husband grew up in, they had been there for 30 plus years. So obviously when you're moving after living in a place for 30 some years, it's difficult because there has been all of this stuff amassed over time. Yet bringing stuff in nowadays is so incredibly easy. Any friction between what we want and actually having that thing is practically gone, which I think about, growing up, what was involved in actually getting an item. When I was growing up, you had to go to the store. Maybe they had it, maybe they didn't. And if they didn't have it, you were kind of out of luck until maybe you went to a different store. Now we just go online. We can see, well, Amazon has 99% of it, right? And then we can get it delivered the same day. And so we have that high of shopping that we were talking about without the cost of gas or our time or really having to go anywhere. And also returns have been made so easy in that if you think about an Amazon return, I know that you can do that at a local Kohl's, and then they encourage you to do more shopping by giving you a 20% coupon to use at the Kohl's. So in addition to that, and just how easy it is to obtain things, we see thousands of ads per day. And the estimate is between 4,000 and 10,000 ads a day telling us that we need things in order to make us happy, that we're lacking somehow, and this said product is going to fill that gap. So it's so easy to consume. It's so easy because we're surrounded by these messages all the time, but it's really difficult once something is in the house to get it out. Why? Why is it so hard? Well, part of it is because the minute that we own it, we start attaching meaning to it and also memories over time. And in episode 157, I'm going to link to this in the show notes. I talk about the 7 cognitive biases that cause clutter and what to do about them. And a couple of them are just having to do with ownership and exposure. We have the endowment effect, which means that we own it. We're around it more. That's the mere exposure effect. And we don't want to change the status quo, which is the status quo bias. So the 3 of those are just like, we own it, it's in the house, so we don't want to let go of it. And there's other ones as well when we have memories over time, and we'll talk about a little bit later, the stories we attach to things. It makes it even harder to go about doing that. So just remembering, yes, it's so easy to bring it in, but because it's hard to bring it out, we need to have it have some systems in place, right? Which is what I'm here to help with. Okay, let's move on to the uncomfortable truth number 3, which is that clutter is delayed decisions, right? So decluttering is decision making. Clutter is delayed decisions. And we put off decisions like decluttering because decision making is hard. Why is decision making so hard for us? A couple reasons. We have a perception about how much time and energy it's going to take to declutter. And we have the perfectionism of, if I can't do it all, or if I can't do it a certain way, I'm not even going to get started. If I can't do my whole closet, I'm not going to start with my sock drawer. If I can't do the whole playroom, I'm not going to start with just looking at the board games that my kids do and do not play with. And this can be compounded if you have ADHD or any kind of executive functioning issues, because that impacts your prefrontal cortex and your ability to make those executive functioning decisions. You may also have reduced capacity based upon your season of life. So you may have a baby, you may have an aging parent, you might be working full time and, managing the household and all of these things. And if you live in a cluttered space, that impacts your energy and focus, which can impact your decision making, which means you procrastinate and causes more clutter. So it's this vicious cycle. So just understanding how clutter impacts our decision making, and that decision making can be hard, which is why sometimes you need support and you need motivation, because it's not something that we want to do. I always joke that even if we had a whole weekend to ourselves, we wouldn't spend it decluttering because it's not actually that fun. I like the results, but in the moment, it's not always fun, right? All right, let's move on to uncomfortable truth number 4, which is that clutter is not neutral. It is negatively affecting you and your space. And I talk more about this in episode 8, all about the science behind clutter. But here are a couple of highlights to remember. So, clutter impacts our stress levels. It actually impacts and it raises our cortisol levels. It impacts our focus, our working memory. It causes physical strain and stress if we have to physically move around things. It causes emotional stress because if we're trying to find something and we can't find it, then we end up being late. Then it impacts our work and it impacts our relationships. There's just this ripple effect that happens. And then also, it's a drain on our energy. In an upcoming episode that I have, it's actually going to be coming out next week with an author named Robin Reynolds. She talks about the negative energy within clutter, so that clutter actually is a negative energy drain. So if we think about the fact that clutter is just not extra stuff lying around, it's actually a health impediment and hazard, we can hopefully look at it a little different and kind of prioritize that. And that's what I'm here to help you do. And lastly, we're going to talk about that last uncomfortable truth. The meaning that we attach to stuff impacts the stories that we tell ourselves about why we can't let go. So there's a lot of stories that we tell ourselves. And a couple of weeks ago, we talked about the perception of what something is worth. So when we say, what is the value of something, it can be, okay, well, I think that there's monetary value, or you think that there's some sort of utility, like a usefulness to the item. And sometimes that's an aspirational utility. Like, oh, I could maybe use this someday in this aspirational future. But also the value can be sentimental, right? We have the memories that it evokes and memories of people that we care about. And then kind of to go into the mix of all of this, we have fear that we might need it someday, or we want to keep it just in case. And we also have guilt about letting things go, especially if it's something that comes from a family member. So recognizing that we tell ourselves stories about the things that we own can help us to really hold up those cognitive biases, those stories up to the light and say, okay, and we talked about this a couple weeks ago, that two things can be true at the same time. You can have something worth so much, you paid so much for it, and you want to be able to make room in your home for something better or for just having that extra space. So that is something that I want to help you work through with not only the tactical aspects of decluttering, but also the mindset pieces that you're getting hung up on. So now the question is, Emily, what do we do? Now that we know these truths, well, I definitely want you to come into the free Facebook group. We're going to be doing a challenge next week, and it's going to be a little different than what we've done in the past. I'm going to encourage the members to send a picture or share a picture about a space in their home, and then I'm actually going to give some guidance on how to approach it. So kind of that jump start to help you, and then checking in throughout the week to see how it's going. So if you want to join the group, you can head over to tinyurl.com/moms overcoming overwhelm and answer the 3 membership questions, and I'll go ahead and approve you. But before I let you go, let's go ahead and review and recap these 5 uncomfortable truths. Number 1, shopping is fun. Decluttering is not fun, but I love it anyway. Number 2, bringing stuff into our homes is easier than ever. Getting it out is hard. All right, number 3, clutter is delayed decision making, and we put off decluttering because decision making can be hard for a variety of reasons. Number 4, clutter is not neutral. It has a negative effect on your health and your space. And number 5, the meaning that we attach to our stuff impacts the stories that we tell ourselves about why we can't let it go. And being able to recognize those helps us as a first step to be able to start letting go. So I hope that this was a helpful episode for you. And next week, like I said, we're going to be having an interview with Robin Reynolds. She is a professional organizer and the author of the book, What is Clutter Costing You? Right up my alley, right? So until next week, I will see you soon. Bye for now.